The sex robots are coming, almost literally. Now, look, we know that there's been a lot of progress in the field of robotics. So, of course, what do humans want to do when we come up with advanced technology? Well, we either try to fuck it or we try to use it to fuck each other. Okay, that's what humans do. Now, while this technology is up and coming, surging ahead, if you will, there are issues for prospective lovers of robots, robot lovers. Okay.
Okay.
Now, one of them,
Robot files.
right, robotophiles. There you go. Now, or maybe technophile. No, I think technophile is already a word. But I'm not entirely
It
sure.
could be applied to that though, maybe. I don't know. It's a
Maybe
good
I don't
question.
know. Now, basically, one of these issues was spelled out by the, or spelled out at the Second International Congress of Love and Sex with Robots. That is the thing. There was a Swiss researcher there by the name of Oliver Bendel, who warned the audience in attendance that, quote, these machines, you've got to be careful. The machines could overexert humans and reduce the possibility of humans having sex. So let me put that plainly. Basically, he's warning that human beings could screw themselves to extinction, literally.
Wow.
D- Yeah.
At first when I saw that, I was like, come on, no way. But then, I mean, that does happen. I mean, there are people that it's actually not super, super uncommon for some people to prefer masturbation over sex
Right?
because they just like not having the pressure of a partner. That's not super crazy uncommon. And, at first I was like, well, I can't imagine like wanting to go to technology instead of actual human interaction. But I mean, it's not that far fetched because you think about the way our technology isolates us. It's already not super crazy. I mean, I know people that they openly admit, I'd rather be on the internet than with other people. I
I
would
mean,
rather be on the internet. I like the internet better. I That's a social construct in and of itself, and I prefer it. There are people that feel that way. I personally don't feel that way, but
right.
I know that there are people that feel that way.
So,
We've built new realities and new interactions now, and you go out in public. How many people are on their phone all the time? I mean, there's a connection here. So I mean, it's not that far fetched to think, if I can get my rocks off with a robot that never gets tired, can orgasm as many times as I need it to be satisfied. Um, Man, who needs a dude or a gal or whatever it may be?
yeah, and look, he talks about that actually. Bendel notes that unlike humans, robots obviously do not tire out. And he says that if the issue of robot ethics aren't addressed before sex robots roll out, they could either screw us to the point of where we're always physically exhausted, or be so much better at sex than a real person that humanity would just be like, why would I have sex with you? You suck, when I can have a robot that does exactly everything that I want it to.
I
So,
know, Jeff. I mean, hey, that robot would not complain no matter how many times you ask it to dress up like Princess Leia. You could get that Return of the Jedi fantasy anytime you want it.
yeah. And yeah, no complaining, right? They do everything that you want. But now, of course, anytime when we have a conversation about sex robots, I feel it's appropriate that we talk a little bit about Japan. Japan, I love you, okay? But seriously, there's some weird shit going on. And look, let me elaborate on that for a second. I saw an article the other day where there's such a loneliness problem among younger people in Japan, younger men especially, that they invented. Google has come up with a virtual girlfriend that also kind of controls your house. It sounds super weird, okay? But it's this holographic virtual girlfriend wired into Google that can basically, hey, you turn off your lights, turn on your lights, and then conversate with you, and then, you know, text you and stuff like that. It's a little weird, okay? But they present this, and I forget the name of it, but it presents this as the kind of cure for loneliness for younger people living in Japan. And I feel like that's kind of the direction. Japan is kind of where they're ahead of us when it comes to robot human relations. I
Well, and
feel.
it's an interesting place because, first of all, there's a
Again,
ton
I
of
love
people there.
Japan. I love Japan.
They are ahead of us technologically. They are, I think, in some ways, they're more sexually liberal than us, but in other ways, they're not. I mean, I think socially, day to day,
I I
they
don't know
might
about
not
that.
be typically. Again, these are general observation,
No, no,
general
no.
statements, but they also have like blowjob shops and stuff like that.
Right,
Like Japan has stuff like that. We don't really have that here. But then their work culture is, one of the few work cultures that's as extreme as ours.
right.
So I think that lends itself to a lot of the isolationism that they'll have in those types of places. So yeah,
Well,
I
I
mean
mean, it is.
it's an interesting place in that regard, and it's interesting to see the types of products that happen as a
They're
result of all that.
Well, they're very strange when it comes to sexuality, because look in pornography, for example, they will blur out the pubic region. Okay, so on all their Japanese porn. Not saying that I'm an expert. Okay, because
It's okay, Jack.
they blur out the pubic region, and then there's weird shit too.
We know you watch
But
Japanese
there's
porn,
there's
Jeff. We know you
normal
you
shit.
can't love video games as much as you do and not be like, well, of
I
course
will
I'm
admit
taking
nothing.
this into my porn habits as well.
I will admit nothing. Let's just say that, and just ask you to.
Believe me.
But anyway, I'm getting a lot of use out of that clip. By the way, I love it.
Amen.
But no, there's like I think they're a model for what would happen when the rest of the world catches up to them technologically, and there's a big loneliness problem as I keep mentioning, partly due to I think the work schedule, and I think part of it has to do with technology as well. People are not getting married. People are not having as many kids in Japan. So they're
That's all over
facing
the world too, though.
not necessarily. I mean,
Really? I mean, I feel like that's happening here too.
our birth rate isn't as high as it
Okay.
used to be, but
Right.
Japan I think has a noticeably bigger problem when it comes to
Okay.
that, because there's a current generation that just doesn't seem to want to hook up with each other anymore, and again there's all these societal pressures and things that they could go to for when it comes to technology for technology. And so I don't know. They are facing a crisis, and they're saying that if it continues to go this way, there's not going to be a younger generation to start replacing the older people that are dying out, and that's going to be a bit of a major problem. So already they're facing issues with their version of retirement, government-sponsored retirement programs. So you know what I mean?
Mm.
But anyway, now there's more about this, right? This guy continues to lay out some more reasons why this could be a problem. Robots, by nature, of course, collect a lot of data. Now, considering how easily tech companies right now can collect user data to, for example, serve some targeted ads, right? Now, imagine a sex robot targeting everything that you enjoy, right? Collecting all that information about you and then being able to act on that, apply it to a hot robot that looks, feels and sounds human, you're running into some issues. Now, the good thing, that's still a long way off. And you'll love the science about this, by the way. This is what they officially call it, teledildonics.
Perfect.
Perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And it's still a new science, and so we still have ways of trying to figure out to avoid that doomsday scenario, right? But look, knowing how fast technology has progressed, especially when you look at the past century, we're looking, I mean, this is my estimate. I'm not by any means a scientist. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but I think the way that we progress, 50 years, we're looking to getting to the first sex robot. And I may be way more conservative on that estimate. So.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be faster than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, I'm not I'm not on the cutting edge of where sex robot technology is
No,
at,
I'm not
nor
either.
do I follow it,
Right.
except for when you bring these stories in. But it's the
Believe
only
me.
exposure I get.
Wrong. Wrong.
Okay. The final thing that I was saying is that is a bit of an aside, a little bit of a cheeky thing that I want to point up, but like people always think of the robot apocalypse as something like that's going to happen in Battlestar Galactica or in something that you might be more able to identify with, Terminator, right? But this is actually an entirely different take on the robot apocalypse. Instead of them taking over by force and nuking us, why not just fuck us to death?
Jeff, you
Makes
just
sense.
described the idea for the next big porno film. To bring it full circle, I think that would be an amazing
The
film.
Sperminator.
The sex robots try to fuck us all to death, and there is one heroine. There's one female that just can just squirt an orgasm like no other, and she can withstand all of the robot fucking, and she just fucks them all until their circuits go haywire, and she saves the planet.
I believe South Park has already coined the term "fuck 'em all to death," though. If you've watched the recent election-themed episodes of South Park, that was
It'd be called like Bone Nation or something like that. I don't know what they would call the what they would call the like, and then of course there'd be zombies that would come back and try to fuck the robots too.
why zombies? Why zombies?
We are. I don't know, but we're sitting on $1 million idea here, Jeff. I mean, I'm when you come to LA for Politicon, we'll have to go pitch this one afternoon.
Billion
I know we mostly
views.
do political shows, but we have a porn idea that we promise neither of us are going to be in it. It's just our idea, and
Right.
because then they'll hear our pitch out, and we'll be like, "Look, the robots. Someone has to fuck all the robots."
Someone's got to fuck them. Somebody's got to be doing the fucking.
We brought it full circle.
There we go. As far as robot apocalypses go, it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be
know.
the best way.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.